the National Guard shootings that took place in Washington, D.C. One deceased and one person of local interest injured and fighting for his life. We've asked Sheriff Rob Blair to come in from the Berkeley County Sheriff's Department to address this, as there is obviously a local tie there as well. Rob, good morning. Thank you for coming in today.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
What is the latest that you know about Andrew Wolf at this time?
On my way in, my Sergeant Wolf actually called me, and
He's the father of Andrew.
He's the father of Andrew, and I asked him if there's anything particular he wanted to relay to the community since I was getting ready to go on, and true to this entire time, he just asked for continued prayers. They're as genuine as they can be about that. That's what they want. They don't want anything other than that. He expressed he said he could never repay the support he's received from the community, law enforcement, the military. I mean, literally from the president on down have shown their unwavering support for that family, and he's eternally grateful for that. So that's what he wanted me to relay to you all.
There are some fraudulent funds out there that are marketing themselves as trying to be helpful in this situation. What advice do you have to people who want to help?
Well, I think you may have seen we posted about the GoFundMe accounts, and we're treating everyone as a fraudulent scam. Although I did receive an email from probably a well-intended gentleman, I won't say his name, and he was a little upset that we mentioned it, but his heart was probably in the right place, but he didn't get authorization from the family. So we're taking those down because the family doesn't want it. There may be an opportunity for the community here in the near future through a local bank. So nothing's set right now, but and I don't want to get ahead of myself on that. I've had conversations with our Sergeant Wolf about that potential. So the community standby we will post anything about that may be relevant and let them know. There was a post we put out, or someone put out, I think we maybe shared it, about if you have cards, they can send them to the sheriff's office, and just make sure it's for Andrew Wolf, Staff Sergeant Andrew Wolf, and we will make sure that the family gets those.
Sheriff, you've alluded to the fact, but give us a little bit of history with Andrew's father. He's been with the county for several years as a deputy, has he not?
Yes, he's one of my patrol sergeants, and I believe he told me he can retire maybe sometime next year. He's eligible for retirement. I hope he doesn't. It's never good to lose experience, and we have like 16 members coming up for retirement here in the near future. So that's a big hit if everyone would decide to go. But hopefully he sticks around. He's one of the most genuine people you ever want to meet. He has a heart for the community, as does his wife. And you brought that up. Behind every good man, there's a better woman. And I've never.
Amen.
I have never. Melody has increased my faith.
Yeah.
She is a rock.
Yeah.
So.
Now, there's been some confusion early that Andrew was part of was a deputy. He was not. He was with the Air Guard.
Right. He's with the Air Guard, and Jason's his father. Yes.
Yeah. Rob, you mentioned on your badge, your pinned to your shirt there, some things that maybe you could mention.
Yes, this is what's referred to as a police mourning badge, and then we're wearing them in honor of Sarah Beckstrom. She was acting in a support of the police, and it's we're just trying to honor her memory and just asking the community to continue to lift that family up in prayer, because no family wants to go through that. So,
how were you notified of this? I assume it was on the day it occurred.
I actually had the news running in the background at the office that day, and I saw this come up on the screen, breaking news, and I have to say my first thought was I had a deputy assigned down there in the initial phases of this operation, as did Morgan County, and I knew they were back to work, and I just in my mind I thought, thank God he's back here, but still knowing that someone had been shot and someone's families are going to be affected, and it wasn't until hours later that information started coming in, and we weren't real sure because being the national stage and the investigation, security measures and all, we didn't get clear information until I can't tell you exactly when, but as soon as I found out, Chief Burnett and I loaded up and headed down on Wednesday evening to be with the family.
Is there any reason for any heightened security in Berkeley County at this time?
It's always these things, these people that do these acts, they do them, in a way that you don't see it coming. They're cowards. I'll say that, without any hesitation. Anyone would do this to a human being in any fashion. They have no moral compass. So no different than any other time, in large events, even in small events. You should always, be on guard for anything. We don't want to live our lives in fear. I mean, there's no reason to live your life in fear, but be ready to respond to anything. That's what our deputies do on a daily basis.
But what made this different, in my mind anyway, was the fact that the guy drove all the way from Seattle to Washington, D.C. This was not a spur-of-the-moment thought. This is something well planned out and well intentioned.
And you hit a good point. And I don't want to get down into the politics of all of this, but we've allowed an element into our country, and I don't think he's the only one. And again, this is not to stoke fear or anxiety into people, but we have to do better in this nation. We have to do better at vetting people. Not to say that an American citizen hasn't committed like crimes, but it's time we get serious about this. And I'd encourage any politician with any opportunity to change the way we vet people coming into this country. They do it now, and let's stop the rhetoric going back and forth.
I'm sure there'll be improved vetting now. It's always after the horse gets out, right?
You would hope so.
How would I say it, right?
Yes, sir. You would hope.
So, Sheriff, there is a vigil planned, I think, what day is today? Wednesday. Friday night at Musselman High School, 7 p.m. Can you talk a little bit about that? Is the Sheriff's Department involved in that event?
I just got off the phone with my office assistant, Brandy, and discussing that. We're going to try to share that from our page. And there's so many vigils and stuff going on. And I'd encourage everyone to have their own churches, have their own. People will say, I guess all I can do is pray. Well, I don't think that's a small thing. When there's power in people praying, that's my belief. That's anybody that knows me, that when people come together in prayer, things can change. So, have as many prayer vigils. If I can come to them, I will. It's been pretty busy lately. So we got juggling several different things, but this is a priority for me to make sure we take care of Jason Wolf and his family.
Sheriff Rob Blair, our guest here on the program. How are your numbers at this time, Sheriff, in terms of how many you'd like to have versus what you have?
You may have read that we applied for and received a COPS grant for 5 additional officers, which then puts me down additional officers. But we hired 2, and I think that puts us right now 6 that we're down. I think that's 10. It'd be 8. We're down 8 right now. We have a conditional offer of employment for 1 individual now. We're in the background phase of a 4th. So potentially here in the next month or so, we could have 4 new people. We already have 2. They're with their field training officers. They don't have an academy date yet, but they're out with their field training. I was starting to learn the job, and then they'll go to the academy and then come back. But 2 more, if I could get 4, of course, then I'll go into the new year down 6. And we have plans right now, January 10th, to test again for another class. We've changed some things up on before. We didn't have applications open all the time. Anybody can go in and apply right now online. We keep those applications open all the time, and there'll be a closing date for this next testing. But from what I understand from the Civil Service Commission, we have a large number of applicants on file right now. So I'm very optimistic in the first part of the year we can close those 6 positions out and get up to full staff. Although you always take into account you lose people. Like I spoke, I'm looking at 16 potential retirements in the next year or so. So we have to keep up with that pace.
Do you survey those who are eligible for retirement to find out what their intentions are, or does it just kind of hit you as they file their papers?
I talk to several, and I encourage them. I've been through that process before. I've retired from the state police, and I know when your time comes, and I'd never discourage anyone from, not following what they need to do to take care of their families, and if it's time for them to retire, I'd never discourage them. But we have some quality people that I think, that I hope they stick around longer than just when their retirement date comes up.
What is full staffing, Sheriff?
Let's see. You stumped me on this because we had 73, I believe.
73.
I think it's at 73 when we got the 5 positions, yes.
And what's the starting salary, Sheriff, for a deputy, no experience, going to the academy, so forth?
Not enough. It's a little over $57,000. And I've already made it clear that I think we need to up that. And I have a specific number in mind, and it still won't be enough. We're competing with the likes of Loudoun County and Montgomery County and these counties. We're not paying anywhere near what they're paying.
What are they paying?
I don't know, but it's significantly more than. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but we have to be competitive in our area here, including other agencies that are Martinsburg Police Department, the Charlestown, Jefferson County, the state police. We have to be competitive with that at least.
Are you competitive with those?
More than you used to be.
More than we used to be, but not where we need to be. So, if that makes sense.
Not counting the cops grants, generally speaking, deputies are paid by the county commission and from the tax base, not from the state base, like teachers, for instance.
Correct. It's mentioned that Friday's my deadline for our people to get in some budget requests. I ask everyone to give me some ideas about what we need, and so Friday will be a deadline for that, and then we can start looking at things and what we're going to request, whether we request increases or, a lot of stuff will probably stay, neutral. But so yeah, we're paid from the county, and the COPS grant, it's partial federal and matching county funds. So, and then it goes through, I believe it's a 3 or 5 year process where it phases out, and then the county takes up the remainder.
You never get as much as what you'd like, but it's my sense the county commission has been as supportive as they reasonably can be.
I've known several of the county commissioners for over 30 years, and I cannot stress they have been more than supportive. They're always willing to listen, and I'm very appreciative to have that kind of relationship. I know it's not like that around the state. There's other counties that they don't get along with their commission, and I refuse to be that. Even if I disagree with them, we're going to get along because, we're about Berkeley County, and we got to take care of Berkeley County.
What's your total budget, Sheriff, for the Sheriff's Department?
I knew I was going to call, and it's somewhere around $10 million with everything, with tax office, and I don't have the exact number on that, but I will be looking at that Friday totally. But
now, you mentioned tax office. You may not be able to address some of this, but there have been some legal issues in the tax office.
Yes, sir.
Are they still progressing?
I would refer you to the federal prosecutor's office on that if they want to make any comments on that.
Fair enough. Yeah.
We're just about done with the calendar year of 2025, and traditionally I know that the Sheriff's Department puts out, at least they have in the past, toward the end of the year or the beginning of the new year, a recap of what the previous year in crime, so to speak, was like in the county. How has it been so far as we approach the end of 25?
As far as compared to other years?
Yes, sir.
It's hard to tell. I haven't really looked closely at that. I know we've had some really serious critical incidents with our deputies as far as having to use deadly force. And I can say this, that their training is paying off. It's always a tragic situation when you have to go in and people always they discount what the officers go through. But we've had some, and it's depleted our budget when it comes to our crisis intervention team. I'm very intentional. We hired a police social worker when I first started, one of my first hires actually, and I'm very concerned about their mental health because this job drains you. You going along and in a split second you go from 0 to 100, and you have to be prepared for that. And that's happened at least twice this year that we've had to react in that fashion.
Let's talk about Interstate 81. As a former state trooper yourself and a commander, you understand what the importance is of patrolling Interstate 81, and it's probably a daily occurrence when there's at least a lane shut down because of an accident there. There's been such a reduction in force in the state troopers locally that more of that responsibility has fallen upon the sheriff's department. I don't know the best way to ask this question, but where on the priority list for the sheriff's department right now is the observation of Interstate 81 for reckless driving and speeding?
We obviously respond to any call out there that we get. We get daily. I mean, you wouldn't believe the amount of reckless driving calls or.
Oh, I would.
Crap. You drive it. I do too. But we also encourage our patrol units in between calls to get out and patrol. And I can tell you this because I was in my office, I think it was yesterday, maybe the day before, and Deputy Little come in asking for some more ticket books because he's out on 81 writing tickets. So that was encouraging to me. You have to balance this. We have to respond to emergency calls. That's our top priority. But I would also like to get, in this hiring process, enough individuals hired where we can have a full-time presence on 81. And I know everyone thinks, we should be out there 24/7. We don't have the resources to do it at this point, but we will. I'm trusting in that, and that's one of my priorities. I'd like to have a full-time criminal interdiction team out there because there is a lot of crime going up and down 81 that we're missing.
Human trafficking.
Well, we just had a course with Sheriff Mike Lewis out of Wacomico, Maryland. He's well known throughout the country in his criminal interdiction, and he taught a course at our office, and it got me thinking that we really need that, and that comes at a cost. But there's millions and millions of dollars worth of illegal drugs, human trafficking, large sums of money up and down 81 every day.
Is there any way to address that other than traffic stops and inspecting each vehicle?
Of course, you have your public service commission. They stop trucks all the time. If they get intel or have suspicion, they'll get a hold of us or state police. But also the drug task force and our CID units that work drug stuff, you get intel on cases and you might get a tip on a vehicle heading through, and that's just how it works. You act on that.
So I'm sorry, Maria.
No, go ahead. I was going to say, it seems like, is there some indication that it looks like something nefarious is going on? How do you decide?
There are indicators all the time for who's bringing drugs in, and you look for those, but you also look for traffic violations, and you have to have probable cause to stop a vehicle. You don't just go out here and randomly stop. Hey, I think you're going to have drugs. You have to follow the law, and that's always our encouragement, whether we're out doing that or we're out assisting ICE in the 287G program, which we've committed to. Our job is to enforce laws, and we're going to do them by the book. That's what I expect of my deputies.
Are there negotiations, or have there recently been negotiations between the Sheriff's Department and the state police in regards to how many calls they will take and actually run?
There has been. We came to a temporary agreement, and we're on a trial basis, and There's opinions on both sides, but I can tell you we take the majority of the calls. We have more people, and we don't have a lot more people, but I'm willing to work with the state police. Man, I love the state police. That's my dad was a trooper. Between him and I, we got 52 years with that agency, and but I'm 100% Berkeley County Sheriff's Office right now for the Berkeley County citizens. So whatever we need to do to work together on that is what I'm committed to. And I understand, man, it's hard. It's when you have limited manpower, they're call to call to call. It has an effect that on the backside you lose morale, and then you start losing people. So it's all cumulative. So we want to work together. Any agency in Berkeley County, we're going to work with them.
Sheriff, we are just about out of time. I appreciate yours. 20 seconds, your final message.
Pray for the Wolf family, specifically for Andy. He's a fighter. I think Jason may be able to share some positive news here soon, and I want everything to come from the family. Not this is all about the Wolf family.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you.
Back with the final minute right after this.